SenSim is a new train simulator for Android from Studio 134. I'm pretty sure it's their only product at the moment. And it simulates the Kaikyu Railway in Japan, at least in its most basic version. There are a lot of add-on tracks, though, that are available in the cloud that you can actually build off their website with your own content, which makes it a little bit original, I would argue. But even the basic route is a lot of fun, actually. It's challenging, but not as impossible as it looks. You have one unified control over there on the left, which I'm not sure if that's accurate or not. A lot of EMUs, like this 2000 series, do in fact have controls like that. I just don't know if the 2000 series specifically has it, because it has been deliberately simplified, of course. And I've also gone into this without knowing the proper Japanese regulations. I'm only using the horn on crossings and in one point to alert a brush cutting crew. In much of Japan, you're not allowed to use your horn most of the time because of noise ordinances, actually. This simulator reminds me a lot of Railfan, especially because it's Japanese, but also because it has a video that's been adapted for the game rather than 3D graphics. And here I'm about to brake. The line appears to be completely flat in this case. I don't know if that's actually true in real life. A lot of this seems to be simplified for Android. For example, you can see the frame rate is not very good, even though I have a computer that's more than powerful enough to give you a pretty smooth frame rate, if it's just a video. So I think they've made a number of sacrifices to make this compatible with as many devices as possible. Notice the standards there for where you're supposed to stop are ridiculously strict, like within 2 meters of perfect. And then the on-time performance expected is within 20 seconds of time, which is in line with Japanese practice. But I'm actually running early on this run, and I will continue to run early until the end, which I've never done on a simulation of a Japanese railway before, which again leads me to suspect there's been a lot of dumbing down, perhaps, is the word. I mean, basically, they have made this so that you're on pretty much flat track and in perfect weather the whole way. So the train is reasonably predictable, actually, which in real life is not necessarily true. Another thing that is unclear is what the speed limits are, because you can run completely flat out on this route and never have a problem with speed limits. And I've noticed a few speed signs along this route in reality for like 60 kilometers per hour, like just a few seconds ago. And they don't appear to actually apply to the simulator, unless I'm just misreading those signs. So your schedule is basically written on the presumption that you'll run completely flat out between the stations and that you'll make every stop, because all of these services are local. And the train tops out around 100 kilometers per hour, which I presume is reasonably accurate because it's a local. One thing I don't know is if your headlight is this useless in real life. I suspect this may have been shot out the back of a train, possibly. But on the other hand, we're running on the left, so that suggests this couldn't have been done from the back. There's the brush cutting crew. Notice that everything is animated along the side of the route because it's based on a video, which is one of the advantages of using a video, even if the animation may often be the wrong speed. One other peculiar thing about the Kaikyu Railway is that it's standard gauge. You see I'm running on dual gauge here, and the narrower gauge would almost certainly be the meter gauge, which is the standard in Japan. So there must be some kind of trackage rights agreement on this section of the line. with one of the more standard railways in Japan. Unless there's just something I'm missing. Although strangely they've only double gauged the left track here, so I don't know what's up with that. I found that with all of the stations on this route, if you're going 100 kilometers per hour approaching them, and you set the brakes in notch 3 from 500 meters, you're pretty much guaranteed to make a clean stop. The trouble is, you're not always going to be going 100 kilometers per hour, so that's the most difficult thing about it. And the other scenarios involve higher speeds, lower speeds, and so on. And so if you try somebody's add-on track from the cloud, you have to relearn how to drive, essentially, which is largely the point. Actually, a 500 meter stop from 100K without an emergency application is awfully unusual in the world. But here I'm 35 seconds early. And this is a pretty short route, so the next station will be the last, and it's actually the most challenging for exactly the reason I described. You tend to approach it at around 90 some odd kilometers per hour instead of the full 100. So putting the brakes in notch 3 won't always give you the stop that you need. So in other words, you'll come up short and they won't accept that you've pulled into the station. So here I'm actually going to punch it to try and get up to 100 kilometers per hour so that it's easier to calculate my stopping distance. I know that's a lazy way to do it, but it also has the advantage of ensuring that I will be probably early again. Overall, I like this simulator. I'm probably going to be fiddling with this quite a lot. It certainly doesn't tax my computer at all because I'm running it in my Android emulator, in BlueStacks there. You can actually see that I'm using BlueStacks in this. So here I have no choice but to throw the brakes on, and I'm probably not going to make a perfectly clean stop here. But I know that I will actually make it. We zoom into the platform here, which is a little bit unnerving every time I do it, because there's the end of the platform already and we're still going 20 some odd K. The brakes stay on, and in the end, I don't have to fiddle with them. I just have to give them a little more power, actually. So then it scores you anyway, after you've pulled in stars. I've done better than I usually do there. I give you a photo of Japan there. I don't know where that is exactly, but it's pretty in any case. Then they send us back to the main menu. But you can also take a look at the other tracks here. I'm going to use my remaining seconds to show you this. So you call up the web browser of your choice, and then you can actually launch the track from your web browser. It's really impressive programming, I think. Excellent use of existing resources here without taxing the system at all. So BVE Trainsim is the most basic one, and you just click Start, and it directly downloads into your simulator. And it's as if it's a plugin, which I think is really impressive. They do warn you, of course, that you need to have high-powered Wi-Fi, but that's really it. Otherwise, you load it in and you're ready to go. So anyway, maybe that will be a future playthrough. Thanks for watching.